Hi there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of DIY AI. Last week was a really good intro to the different types of LLM, large language models, that exist for the general user, people who don't necessarily have to pay to subscribe, just to get some very basic introduction to a simple use case. This week, we're going to be doing something a lot more hands-on and a lot more fun, and also a lot more personal to where most of us are at this point in our lives. Um, Father's Day is coming up, and what I wanted to do for my husband this year is I wanted to create a personalized song for him. I wanted to give him something that kind of commemorates how thankful we are for him and something that he can look back on throughout the years and not have to worry about durability. With that thought in mind, it is important to note that there are some phone apps that exist today, both on iOS and Android, that you can download and you can create your own song on your mobile device. But since this is a channel that's focused on AI, I wanted to see what tools exist out there today that are free for users and that we can kind of get a little bit better acquainted with to see how this evolves. So, without further ado, I'm going to share the prompt that I provided to ChatGPT to get us started. Now, we're just going to be using ChatGPT today to be interacting, creating lyrics, creating an understanding of what type of song we want to be generated. And then ChatGPT is going to provide us with a couple of different options, a couple of different tools that we can use to be able to create this song for our loved ones. So, let's get started. So I've already input my prompt into ChatGPT. Again, we're just using ChatGPT today as our LLM. And essentially, I said I wanted to create a song for Father's Day, but I needed some suggestions on what kinds of tools to use. And this was the response that I got back, which was much more thorough than I had expected. But then it also prompts me to consider the lyrics, which is not exactly what the initial ask of mine was, but it was a good thing to point out to me. And then beyond the lyrics, it says if you want to add different types of characteristics to the song, you might want to consider Suno versus Udio. So I did a little bit of research previously, and we are going to be using Suno and Udio and comparing the two results. All right, it even provides a suggested workflow. Start with lyrics, pick a genre, generate the song, and customize the vocals. At the very end, it prompts me, which is one of the things I love about ChatGPT, is it's very much an interactive experience at this point. It says, would you like to start with the lyrics, or do you want to choose a song style and genre first? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide ChatGPT with a list of character traits that my husband has as a father, and I'm going to send it to ChatGPT and ask it to present me with some suggested lyrics. So let's see what it does. Okay, Dad Magic was the first suggested title. Okay, and it even comes with different verses, pre-choruses, chorus. This is much more thorough than I had expected, which is pretty fun. He walks in the room with the pirates, arr, wearing fairy wings and a feathered boa scarf. He's got tea in a cup, British accent in play, and somehow that tiger is missing again today. My kiddo loves to play a hiding tiger game, which is just so perfect for this song. Okay, so we're down to the bottom of the song. I loved every bit of this. I'm not going to change any of it because it's just so beautiful and it speaks to my husband's relationship with my kiddo. And I just love that. The last thing it asks me is, want me to plug these lyrics into Suno or Udio for a full song demo? I would love that. Thank you, ChatGPT. Yes, please. First step it tells us to do is to visit Suno.ai. I have already created an account. A free version is exactly what I did. Paste the lyrics into the lyrics field, choose a genre, and add tags like funny, heartfelt, playful dad rock, or inspired by 90s alt rock. And it looks like it even adjusted the lyrics based on the genre, which I did not prompt it to do. This is a classic example of how AI is advancing at lightning speed. 2 versions ago, AI was not able to do this, meaning preemptively assume what your next prompt was going to be to this extent. Now, LLMs have always worked based on predictive tokens, meaning that it works based on what it thinks you're going to type next. However, this is leaning forward into that assumption, specifically with this use case. For example, we had just provided it with a list of different character traits to begin with. It kicked out a beautiful set of lyrics. Once I input the genre I wanted to add, it automatically provided me with an updated set of lyrics for that specific genre so that it would fit the style better. That would have been my next prompt, but it already did it for me proactively, which is both exciting and kind of scary at the same time. So, good job, ChatGPT. All right. Help tweak the style description you enter into Suno to get it just right. You know what, ChatGPT? That's a great idea. Let's do that. Yes, please. I'm going to keep this simple to see exactly what it does. All right, so from here, what we're going to do is we're going to copy all the lyrics from here, from ChatGPT, and I have Suno already open in another tab. This is what Suno looks like. Okay, it's prompting me to finish my profile. I'm going to do that later. Okay, describe your song. All right, let me go back here and copy and paste this. It's not wanting to work. All right. Well, we're going to take this into a different page. So here's the thing that y'all should know is this is my first time using Suno and we're learning live together. Okay. So I have never used this tool or Udio before. And one of the things that I'm noticing is Suno does not allow for copying and pasting specifically from ChatGPT into its description box. A little bit frustrating for those of us who want to be using all Gen AI type tools, but I guess it's also one of those newer tools on the space. So we'll see in future versions how this evolves. So I'm going to type this out by hand. Okay, here's another thing about the inspiration. You have to actually scroll on the bottom to select these ones. Wonder if you can just type it in. Nope. You can't type in here either. All right, instrumental, that's not instrumental. Okay, custom. All right, here is where we are going to write our own lyrics. Okay. We're going to take the lyrics that ChatGPT had provided us with. We're going to copy it and paste it into Suno here. Right. Style tags. Maybe this is where I was supposed to put that in. Now, here is one of the limits of ChatGPT. So in our conversation with ChatGPT, it specifically called out a prompt for a style and a theme as well as a vibe tagline. However, in Suno, what I'm seeing is style tags. I don't see anything about vibe. So one of the limitations of ChatGPT is that while it is a fantastic starting place, there are some small nuances that you have to work around in order to figure out exactly what it is that you want to see. So instead of copying and pasting here, because it doesn't allow for copying and pasting, I'm going to manually add the different style tags here as well. Again, what we're seeing here is another horizontal scroll. Now, usually whenever you type tags and you hit enter, a little box shows up that indicates that either a tag exists or you have created a tag. Let's just go with family here as well. I wonder what happens if I click family again. Ah, interesting. Okay, so Suno here was not smart enough to realize that I had already selected family. A lot of times, different tools, even non-AI tools, will already know when you have selected a previous tag, and it'll prompt you saying, hey, you've already selected this. Are you sure you want to select again? All right, song title. What did we call it? Dad Magic. That's what we called it. Why can I not type on this? That would be why. It's using the wrong keyboard. My own fault. All right, let's take a look at what the advanced options look like. We don't want to exclude styles. Not sure exactly what that looks like. We're going to click create and see what happens here. Couldn't generate that. Tags contained. Okay, so for the tags, interestingly, it looks like you can't include specific band names or artist names. So we took that out of styles. We're going to create again and see what happens this time. That probably has to do with licensing and copyright and whatnot. Interesting. So in my workspace here on the right, it looks like there's two different versions that popped up. I'm going to play the first one.
He walks in the room where the pirates are, fairy wings on and a feathered scarf. Tea party voice with a British twist. That tiger's still missing. Oops, we missed. He's got that dad magic, wild and true. Goofball grins and one lost shoe. From 90s jams to tickle attacks, he's the hero in sneakers, got our backs. He hides too slow in hide and seek, peeking smiles from under the seat. He's a gruffalo growling bedtime boss, dressed like a queen and never lost. Yeah, he's got that dad magic, strong and free, peeking smiles from under the seat. He's a gruffalo growling bedtime boss, dressed like a queen and never lost. Yeah, he's got that dad magic, strong and free, with dance moves only a kid could see. He rocks the crown, plays every part, the soundtrack king of our family's heart.
Wow.
Roses on purpose just to see her win, spins the room with a toothy grin. Every silly song, every tea time voice is love in motion, choice by choice. He's got that dad magic, can't deny, big ol' heart and a twinkle eye. So here's to the legend we call Dad, the best we've ever had.
This is really good. This is something I would listen to in my own time.
He's got that dad magic, can't deny, big ol' heart and a twinkle eye. So here's to the legend we call Dad, the best we've ever had.
Wow, I am blown away. So this is interesting. It automatically created two different versions based off of what I had provided an input to Suno. I loved the first one that we just listened to. It was amazing. It blew me away, quite frankly. I did not expect that level of detail, and I did not expect that catchy kind of tune to be provided very, very simply based on the fact that I just said 90s rock. I couldn't say in the style of Matchbox 20 or Bare Naked Ladies like that, but I could also highlight family as part of the genre that I was going for. That was amazing. I loved that first version. I don't think there's anything I would change about that, but let's listen to the second one that Suno created and see if it gets any better.
He walks in the room with the pirates are, fairy wings on and a feathered scarf. Tea party voice with a British twist. That tiger's still missing. Oops, we missed. He's got that dad magic, wild and true. Goofball grins and one lost shoe. From 90s jams to tickle attacks, he's the hero in sneakers, got our backs.
Love this so much.
He hides too slow in hide and seek, peeking smiles from under the seat. He's a gruffalo growling bedtime boss, dressed like a queen and never lost. Yeah, he's got that dad magic, strong and free, with the dance moves could see. He rocks the crown, plays every part, the soundtrack king of a family's heart. Yeah, he's got that dad magic, strong and free, with dance moves only a kid could see.
So good. Okay. So I think that's enough of that. I've made you listen to about 6 minutes worth of this. So I'm going to press pause. This is incredible. So the thing that stands out to me that's really interesting is version 1 was 2 minutes and 24 seconds long, whereas version 2 is a full minute longer. So there's definitely two very different styles that are happening here, both drawing inspiration from mid-90s rock. The first one was much more in line with what I would typically think of as bare naked lady style, whereas the second one is probably more aligned with Nickelback or Three Doors Down, a little bit more classic rock. Considering the theme of the day being family and dad, I would probably personally go with the first option versus the second option. But also knowing my husband and how he likes to work out to different types of 90s music, I would say he might actually prefer the second version. So, great stuff so far. We're going to take the same information and we're going to test Udio, which is another AI music generator, and we're going to see what the differences between the two are. Okay, so I have already created an account, a free account within Udio as well, except what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if a copy paste version of what we tried to do in ChatGPT, if that will actually work in Udio, because friendly reminder, copy paste does not work in Suno, with the exception of just the lyrics. So when we're talking about the description section, copy and paste, Suno did not work, but hopefully it works for Udio. So let's give it a shot. Look at that. It works. Okay. All right. Write your lyrics. Custom, I guess. Okay, so we're going to take the same exact lyrics that ChatGPT provided us before, and we're going to plunk it into Udio. Okay, so it looks like copy and paste fields work in both sections, which is nice. All right, let's see here. Let me just make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Oh, style reference. Let's not do that. I don't want any copyright infringement to happen. Okay, let's see here. Less than 55 words for best results. Okay, I understand that it's saying use less than 55 words for best results, but I want to see what it does with 177 words, which is provided here. Now, interesting differentiation between this current AI generator versus Suno is the fact that Suno did not have any character or word limits, which I had fully expected. This version, however, seems like it is requiring at some level a word count max. So I'm going to keep trying to do this and see if it lets me. And if not, we may just have to remove a whole entire verse. We'll see what happens. All right. My library. Great folder. Personal creations. We're just going to keep everything as it is right now. I'm going to dive a little bit more into this on my own time because I'm interested to see what the differences here are. So let's click create. Here we go. Okay, there we go. Now, interestingly enough, it did not automatically show me the songs that was generated. I had to manually click the folder. Playlist. Test. Okay. Okay.
Watch the room where pirates are, firings on a fence scar, deep white voice with a British twist, touch the missing, who's sweet this? The under voice for zero, and Paul with your word, we shoot it and they go round at the bank, yeah, price on things meant to.
Okay. This is really hard to listen to. It does not sound like English. It does not sound like something anyone would want to listen to. And most of this is probably user error, but with this one example alone, I would not recommend this.
He walks the room with the pirates.
This is so much better.
Tea party voice with a British twist. That tag still missing. Oops, we miss. He's got that magic that wild it all. Through full man and shit all. Being high too slow, it hide and seek. Pecan spouse from under the seat. It's a gruffalo crowd at bedtime. But on straps, the queen and never. Life's got that magic strong and free. Spins the room to so good see rocks, strong, with teeth-on voices, love, emotion, choice by choice, got that magic can't deny.
Okay, so I know which one y'all can tell I like better on this Udio app. I will say option number two that we just heard was so much better than option number one that Udio created. That being said, option number two, I kind of felt like it was, honestly, I felt like I was sitting at open mic night at a rundown piano bar. It did not really sound like something I would want to present my husband with. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stick with Suno, and I think I'm going to stick with option number one. It's so much better. It's awesome.
He walks in the room where the pirates are, fairy rings on and a feathered scarf, tea party voice with a British twist, that tiger still missing.
So much better. It's something I would dance to with my awful dance moves. So I hope you enjoyed today's demo. Like, subscribe, and as always, please be sure to interact, leave a comment, provide suggestions, ask questions, and we will figure this out together. Thank you for watching DIY AI, and I will see you next time.